Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, here in the Mvskoke Media Studios as we are prepared for this week's episode. A lot of great things to share with you folks out there. You know, if you've been watching us the last few weeks, you've seen that we've been sharing with you candidate profiles as we inch closer to our elections here at the Mvskoke Creek Nation. We will be filling national council seats in multiple districts, and with that being said, we have included video profiles, and they've been running on the show the last few Saturdays, and we will continue that this week. We got a couple more districts that will be up, and so we're going to be continuing that, but that won't be the entirety of the show. If you have been watching with us here recently, we have let that basically take up our allotted time here, but we will have some more at the end of the show on some more pertinent news that's affecting the Mvskoke Creek Nation now, and that is a big case involving dual citizenship, dual enrollment with the tribe that has been taken to the district courts. We've seen this thing now even taken to the national level where the Department of the Interior has been implicated in a lawsuit brought forth by the Kialegee tribal town and the Mvskoke Creek Nation. Now, as we're waiting on 11th hour, some of the information from the courts, even now as we film this show here today. So lots to catch you up on as it pertains to that case. And as I say that, the way to catch you up is basically to offer you a timeline. We're going to do that a little bit later on. So definitely stay with us through the break. We're going to have all of that, a little bit more, but another great resource for you, as I always say, not only to watch our timeline here, but go to mvskokemedia.com. You're going to have a chronology of all of the news as it's been happening, as we've been reporting it. So we're going to take our first quick break. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll be right back with Native News Today. And welcome back to Native News Today as we get started with this week's news. And let's get started right away with the biggest thing we're talking about at Mvskoke Creek Nation, and that is the Kialegee tribal town, Mvskoke Creek Nation, dual enrollment. What does it mean here? Court cases, all kinds of things. Everything started with development planned on Steve Bruner, a Mvskoke Creek Nation citizens' allotment land in Broken Arrow. Some controversy arose over that. Are they allowed to have gaming? The Creek Nation said no. Attorney General says no. And then so we fast forward to a time to have candidates come in and say that they're going to run for national council seats. We have a gentleman, Jeremiah Hobaya, that signs up, and it is brought before the courts that he may need to have Mvskoke Creek Nation citizenship revoked. That was what the Attorney General said. So we have a timeline of events we'd like to share with you now from the beginning to where we are led up to now with the latest events and updates.
Hello?
I'm trying to reach Mary J. Givens from the Kialegee Enrollment Board.
Who is this?
My name is Jared Moore. I'm with Mvskoke Media.
Okay. This is Mary, but I'm not on no enrollment.
You're not Mary J. Givens that's listed
I'm
on
Mary J. Givens.
that's listed on the Kialegee Tribal Towns website?
I don't know about that. I don't get but I'm not enrollment.
What, do you function in the Tribal Towns government?
No, huh?
Are you a citizen of the tribal town?
Can I ask why you're asking?
I was just wondering if you'd like to make a comment on the ongoing court case with Jeremiah Hobaya that's happening in the MCN District Court.
Okay. I only went to the first hearing. I didn't go today, or I guess it was last week sometime. They had another hearing.
Okay.
I didn't attend those.
Would you like to make a comment on it? Do you have an opinion, or?
Not really.
And are you a tribal town member, or?
Yes, I am.
You are, okay.
But we all are.
But are you a member of the Kialegee tribal town?
Yes.
And you're enrolled with their citizenship?
Yes.
So the ruling would affect you too, right?
I don't know. Now that's not what Haskins said.
I see. So just to clarify, you didn't want to. Did you want to make a comment on it, or?
No, I'll just let the decision stand the way it's delivered. I just.
Okay.
All right, and as you see there, lots of things to cover, lots of information, and sort of to be able to squeeze it down for you there and kind of hit the chronological points of this timeline. We certainly hope that that was a good reference for you to be able to follow this issue. So there's a lot to this, and as you can see, not only Mr. Hobaya's dual enrollment called into question, also now with the confirmation of another candidate also admitting to being a citizen as well of the Kialegee tribal town. Folks, this is going to be interesting to follow and see where we go from here. So what you're going to want to do, as always, we always want you to watch our program, Watch Native News Today, every Saturday. It doesn't matter if there's breaking news. We're going to have some great features coming up for you in the next couple weeks too. But we're going to have some news that you're going to want to keep following here on the program, but not just the program. As I always tell you, we have MvskokeMedia.com, the YouTube channel. There's going to be news on there. Stay on social media. It's not just a place to, put pictures up of your kid's first day of school. You can also go on there and see news updates from your tribe, get real-time updates from what the court is saying. And folks, we're talking about down to the minute, down to the wire updates here that the tribal court is making, deadlines that the court is putting on itself. So you're going to have that. You're going to have access to those type of things on social media. So stay aware, stay involved. Mvskoke Nation News, Native News Today, and Mvskoke Media Facebook all on there, as well as Twitter too. So we're going to have it all for you. Well, moving right along, we're going to have some more candidate profiles here for you. We want to talk to our candidates out there about the issues that the people would like to have them address. And with that in mind, we had the candidate profiles. Our next district up is the Creek District, and here are the candidates for Creek District Seat B on the Mvskoke Creek Nation National Council.
The MCM, as far as the blood quantum, I believe that that would be something that should be decided with all the National Council. As far as that, my My beliefs I believe that they should be able to, as much as the blood quantum is reducing and the percentage is, and eventually I think that it will be held where the quantums will have to be reduced, and that's just the way I feel with that.
I'm going to refuse to answer that. I really don't have an answer for that.
There's been a number of discussions and conversations about lowering the blood quantum to be able to hold public office. At some point in time, we certainly are going to have to address this. It affects a number of families throughout the Mvskoke Creek Nation. It affects my family as far as blood quantum is concerned. We do have a constitution in place. There are prerequisites to be able to address this issue, and I believe that at some point in time this question certainly has to be addressed and taken care of. I believe that the fathers and mothers of those that helped write the Constitution at that time probably did not have an opportunity to have this in their minds whenever the Constitution was written. But just like in any law, any policy in the Mvskoke Creek Nation, things can change. And if the public wants change, they are the ones that we on a national council that are elected have to report to, have to answer to, and if it's the will of the public that this is done and the procedures are followed and a national council has to address it, and if it's the will of the public, certainly that's something that has to be addressed. And I am in favor of addressing those issues at such time.
Well, in my feeling as same-sex marriage, I feel like that that should be, as far as as a woman and a man should be the marriage. I don't believe that same-sex marriage with two males or two females is really considered a marriage, and I feel like that there should be some way that they could recognize that as far as getting them into the health care or anything like that. Should be just partners or something like that.
I'm not going to answer that. Two questions. Yeah, there's two questions there. I don't know.
Throughout the country, the question of same-sex marriage is being recognized, and also being recognized with various tribes. My position is that things have changed. I know that there's much debate among the religious communities here in Mvskoke Creek Nation. I know that, again, this is one question that has to be addressed. There is a law right now that it be not a same-sex marriage, and at the appropriate time, if this becomes something that the council has to address, certainly it'll be addressed at that time. My position is that things have tendency to change, and I believe it is a right of an individual to be a part of a union that they feel comfortable with, and that's right now the position I hold.
As far as requiring to give payments to each citizen, I don't know that they could do that as far as the economic development would be concerned with that. I think that, I believe that our tribe should be able to decide who gets that and where it goes, and I believe that we could make good decisions like that as far as using the tribe to make the decisions.
The per cap payments to citizens, I think, is something that works for other tribes. We're one of the largest fourth largest tribe in the United States. So there's a lot of things that come into play. I think that if the per cap process was thoroughly vested and vetted in our system, I think that would be an option. But and I think in this case, I don't think we have our citizenship, our enrollment is too large for a per cap payment, and I think our services would suffer the consequences if we did go to a per cap payment system.
Per capita payments has probably been something that certainly has been topics for discussions for over 40 years at the Mvskoke Creek Nation, as well as other tribes. And the one thing that per capita payments does is it allows for our citizens to have a amount of money for a short time. Again, that is their monies. But the other thing is that at the Mvskoke Creek Nation, we're fortunate to have what is referred to as a permanent fund, or in some cases is referred to as a rainy day fund. Much of that money is used to be able to supplement programs that we have at the Mvskoke Creek Nation, allows for acquisition of property, allows for the ability to have economic development, and to make sure that some of the programs that we have the funding that is needed. Right now, we are seeing in Washington, D.C. a very contentious atmosphere. We don't know the future of Indian country. It's not business as usual right now with tribes and tribal governments in Washington, D.C. I believe that right now that we must be very good stewards of our funds that we have as tribes, and to be very protective of it, yet use it to its fullest to make sure that we continue to provide the programs that we have. I would not at this time feel like that it would be to our advantage to look at giving out a per capita payment because of the uncertainty of we as tribal governments and the funding that we get. Many of our tribal citizens don't know that we already have to supplement the federal grants that we get with our own monies. And so, again, this is something that is for discussion and will always be. And as of right now, I would have to say my position is to not have a per capita payment because of the current situation of the atmosphere in Washington, D.C., and being protective of the monies that we have right now.
Well, to communicate with the social media and everything, I think as far as Facebook and emails, communicating with all the community centers, I think that we need to all get together. As far as each community and find out better ways to communicate as far as to the Creek Nation media and everything. I think that that would be the best way to communicate to each other. I feel like that there probably isn't enough communication in the tribe where we can communicate everything, but I think there just needs to be a better way of communicating to each other.
I am going to participate in our community meetings. I know that there's a lot of communities out there. I'm visiting in a lot of them right now as we go through our forums. And I'm going to use a combination of a lot of things, social media, the press, but I'm actually just going to personally attend as many meetings as I think I can, and I won't probably get to all the communities, but I'm going to listen to their concerns and and formulate some solutions that we can all work out and all kind of come together as a team. So I think that's some of the ways that I'm going to reach out to my constituents.
One of the things that I've been blessed with in my background is that I have a media background. I am blessed to be able to be a bilingual in both, I can speak our language, the Mvskoke language, as well as the English language. I can go to ceremonial grounds in our churches and feel comfortable being able to speak our language to our elders and sing our church hymns in our language. I have used our social medias, resources that we have available to be able to communicate with our citizens. And being a former member of the media and the press, I will be willing to use whatever means to be able to communicate with our citizens. I've always been a very big proponent, advocate for our chartered communities. In fact, some of the chartered communities were ones that encouraged me to seek this position. And I believe in our communities and the concept that we have, and I'm willing to meet with them as often as I can, as often as my schedule allows, in serving in the position that I'm seeking.
My political party is a Democrat in the federal elections and the local elections, and I just feel like that's just in my belief, and that's the way I vote. And I feel like there are more Christians in the Democratic Party, and that's something that I feel strong about. I feel like God has put us all on this earth for a reason, and that's the way I vote.
My political party affiliation in federal and local elections are, I think I've really voted for the candidate. I really haven't voted along a party affiliation, but most generally I think I've been on the Democratic side of things, but I have voted for Republican candidates in the past.
I've always said, and I don't know, many people may have heard me say this, is that one thing about our tribal elections is that it's not determined by whether we're a Democrat or Republican or independent. We're all Mvskoke. On a federal level, whenever there are elections, I am a member of the Democratic Party. That is my party affiliation, as it is with the majority of Indians and tribal members throughout the country. And I think it's important that regardless of what elections it may be, federal, state, or even tribal elections, that we certainly exercise our right to vote. And that is very true with our elections at the Mvskoke Creek Nation. Historically, our people just never vote, whether it's on the state or federal or even tribal governments. For some reason, people seem to think it's something new, that there's things such as apathy, a word that is being used quite regularly now in terms of our people getting involved in the election process or voting. But it's always been that way. It's nothing new. And however, as much as we've tried as a tribal government to allow for participation of our tribal members to vote, there's never been that much of a response. And again, I would hope that our people get out to vote in all elections that are held. And I believe that it's just that important. There are many elections historically where one or two votes certainly make a difference. So every individual vote does count and does make a difference.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here on this week's episode of Native News Today. I know we hit you with a lot of material this week, but we definitely can't stress enough that it is time to be involved with your tribal government, knowing what's going on, also being involved and in tune with tribal media, because folks, we've seen it in the past. I know there's other media outlets out there that cover the tribe, but you're not going to get it from any group of individuals that knows the tribal government, knows how we function down here better than Mvskoke media. That's just saying it the way it is. So we're going to be able to have timely news to you that's going to be accurate, that's going to be pertinent to what you know is involving the Mvskoke Creek Nation government and what's going on in these cases. So keep it with us as best as you can, because we're going to have all of those updates for you. As Jared was reminding me, not only that, but on our YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, there are online on demand. You can see it whenever you want. There's also an archiving of all of these candidate profiles. So when you're getting ready for that primary election, which is coming up soon in September, when you're getting ready for that primary election, that is an incredible resource for you to go back, watch each district, watch each candidate, see who you're comfortable with, take a second look maybe at a candidate that you might have missed on the show. You go back and it's right there on our online channel. So it's a wonderful resource to be able to make an informed decision. You know exactly who you're voting for, you know exactly what you're getting from each district, and they're on there, easy to see, easy to navigate through. Jared's done a wonderful job of archiving that there, as well as getting that set up here in studio. So we're almost to the end of that series. I think, Jared, we maybe got one more week of candidate profiles, couple more weeks maybe. So keep it right here on Native News Today, as well as the online presence, social media. We're going to have news everywhere. And I promise you, this won't be the last you hear of the cases that we've been talking about today and that we've provided you with a timeline of today. We're going to be having more news to share with you as this continues to unfold. So this is going to be your best place to make sure that you get all of that as it comes out. Everybody, thanks for being with us this week. It's been a wonderful show. We'll see you next time.